2026 is going to be the best year ever for Fat and Weird, or Fat and Weird won't even exist. So let's talk about it.
We got to go back in time a little bit because if you're new here, we're just going to recap on how we started.
For those that don't know, Fat and Weird was started because for my birthday in 2018, Aubrey asked people that followed her on Instagram to send cookies to our P.O. box when we lived in Houston, Texas. And thousands of cookies showed up.
We kept a lot in our freezer, but over time we tried every single one. Some of them were homemade, some of them were store-bought, some of them were like famous places like in New York and all across the world.
I was worried that we may be poisoned at some point, but luckily we didn't get poisoned ever. And the cookies ended up being really great. However, I noticed back then in 2018, when someone made a Snickers cookie, they just chopped up a Snickers bar and they put it into like a chocolate chip cookie dough, or they just added a lot of things to a cookie, and it wasn't about like creating fun flavor profiles for the cookie themselves. I thought, what if we make big, thick New York style cookies, but we executed them at a different level and we brought together a more cohesive flavor profile. So by August of 2018, we officially launched Fat and Weird Cookie.
Then we went on a giant road trip together and kind of left Fat and Weird behind in Panama City, but we still had people running it, still had his aunt baking 1 day a week. Our first week that we launched sold out because I think our cap was like 1,000 cookies. That was awesome. We were so excited.
2 hours. Took 2 hours.
Yeah. So then we launched every single week. And by September, Brad and I had sold our house in Houston, moved into a camper essentially because we took a huge road trip from Panama City all the way up to Canada and back down. We were gone for 8 weeks. We stopped in all the major cities. We met people. We promoted our cookies. We tried so much good food. And it was the inspiration for a lot of different cookie flavors.
Hurricane Michael happened while we were on our road trip, and we had to shut down Fat and Weird for about 3 weeks. And then when we relaunched Fat and Weird, the orders were really slow. And I thought that was it. The Fat and Weird's over. Like we were kind of, going down this path of doing better, and they just like slowed down. But a couple weeks later, they started picking back up. And then by January of 2019, we were selling out in minutes, 1,000 cookies, and that's the most that we can make in a week. So by March, we decided that we had to make this like our full-time jobs, hire full-time employees instead of just help that we had coming a couple of days a week, so that we could launch more cookies, and we would still sell out within minutes, usually like 10 to 15 minutes, about a couple thousand cookies, all the way through till the end of 2019. In 2019, I also bought a piece of property in hopes of building our own Fat and Weird Cookie HQ on it.
Could we have stopped at one point and just said, you know what, we'll just keep rolling with the 1,000 cookies a week, just, keep selling out? Sure, but we're not that type of people. Brad's not that type of person. He likes to take risks. So we just went all in. Every
bit of money that we've ever made from Fat and Weird has stayed in the company. That's why we own the building that we're in outright. So that building, by 2020, I had started on plans on actually developing this land and building the building on it. Obviously, everyone knows during 2020, COVID happened. It actually blew our business up even more. I doubled down. I hired more employees. I rented more space. I did everything I could do to produce as many cookies as possible. And that was about 10 to 12,000 cookies a week that we could make. And we would sell out in about 3 to 5 minutes, 10 to 12,000 cookies, kind of like in the peak of COVID, that May, June timeframe of 2020. And all the while, I'm trying to build this facility so that we can get in here and produce more cookies so that we can, just sell more cookies. We moved into this new building in January of 2021.
Over the course of those, 2 years, 2.5 years, we were living with his parents for 9 months in this like 10 by 10 little room. That's where we slept, ate, printed out shipping labels, literally like worked till midnight every night. And then we moved in to a house that started renting, which is why we built our house on the second floor of Fat and Weird, because it just made sense, right?
Yeah, it just made sense to have a house up here.
Yeah, because
financially.
It just made sense financially to have a house up here.
Plus, when we were living, eating, and breathing all things cookies, why not be as close as possible to your work?
We had Letty, our first child, in March of 2021. This was before we had a home up here officially. We were supposed to be moved in by then, but we weren't. Anyway, so by, I think
July, yeah.
June of 2021, we finally moved in here, finally like settled in as a family.
And the downstairs bakery was operational around January, February of 2021. So like right before Scarlett was born, we moved Fat and Weird in downstairs, and then a couple months after she was born, we moved in upstairs.
Here comes the first secret that we've never told you about.
So in 2021, e-commerce was booming still through COVID, but it started to slow down near the end of the year. And then 2022 was a very, very slow year for us, to the point where we just weren't doing the revenue that we needed to do to justify all of this space and the employees and everything that I had here. So we decided that the best thing to do would be to sell Fat and Weird to someone that could either grow it or to like move into wholesale. Well, while we were kind of venturing into both options, someone reached out to us to buy Fat and Weird. They wanted to buy the entire company, our building, everything, and they offered us $10 million.
This was a really hard decision for us. I mean, like we sat with it for a really long time, but ultimately in the end, like we were excited about that endeavor. Like we were excited about still being a little bit involved, but kind of like letting go, like finally being able to take a breath. Keep in mind, we had not paid ourselves like a penny. Maybe I made like $12 a month every month.
Yeah, we don't pay ourselves still to this day from Fat and Weird. So we're excited about it. I was going to be able to stay on, and we were both going to be able to still have a small percentage of the company and do stuff. And it was a really exciting opportunity for us. However, literally 3 days out from signing all the deal, it kind of fell apart. Long story short, I tell people it was a lot like a basketball trade where like one team was getting another player and another team was getting this player and all this stuff. So we weren't the only piece to this puzzle, and it just ended up not all the pieces came together, so the deal fell through. So I was like, I guess this is God's way of telling me that he wants me to go into wholesale. So I started pushing ahead with wholesale at the end of 2022. So.
Because we really had no other option. Like it was either go wholesale or go franchise, because we really like thought about that pretty heavily, but we could not stay e-commerce and survive.
Yeah.
We would have failed.
I had met with some franchise groups, a lot of stuff I was doing behind the scenes, but we decided to go.
That was our first secret.
Yeah.
Is the
Well, I
$10
guess,
million
and the other
deal.
secret is that I've met with franchise groups. Like we were going down the franchise route for Fat and Weird as well, but we decided against it. So then in 2023, essentially was the year of trying to get your way into wholesale. And for anyone that doesn't know, it is a long and slow and tedious road, especially when you don't have like a shelf-ready product like we did at the time, because the cookies aren't really shelf-ready. So that's when the Mega Bites, our cookie dough bites, kind of got invented essentially in 2023, as well as our first big wholesale accounts, which was Dash Mart and some of the other ones near the end of 2023. And then 2024 was a really great year for Fat and Weird. It was our best year ever. We got into nationwide with DoorDash. We got into a food distributor called Unify, and they were pulling a bunch of inventory for like new products and things kind of like stocking up their inventories and stuff like that.
Which leads to our second secret / issue / reason why we could fail or exceed.
Yeah.
Abundantly.
Well, this is a couple of things. One, Unify orders based on like this AI system, and because our cookies were going so quickly in the beginning, because DoorDash moved so many and they had to stock up, and then we went to a trade show and we did really well. Their system put in a lot of reorders. So we were like so busy fulfilling their orders, and we had a lot of other companies that claimed they were going to come on because of how well Unify was doing. So we were getting these like verbal POs for a lot of cookies. So we were making tons of cookies every day and shipping them to cold storage for people to eventually pick them up. Well, long story short, Unify realized they were ordering too much from us, so they like paused. Some of the big POs didn't come through. So now we have hundreds of thousands of cookies, which I know sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but it's not as much as it may seem. I mean, it's a lot to the fact that it ties up a lot of our cash flow, all of our cash flow. But it's not a lot in the fact of like, we would sell it all within a year. It's just a lot to have right now. Yeah, I guess the second thing is we have a ton of inventory of cookies and it's tying up all our cash flow. Unify has over-ordered stuff because of issues on their end and they want us to like buy cookies back. Sorry, we're in a situation where we have like no cash, but we have cookies. I feel like if this were the olden days, I would pay everyone in cookies. I was like, can you come clean my house? I'll pay you in cookies, you know? I want to buy a car. Here's some cookies, you know?
We're all about transparency and documentation. Like, this is a huge fork in the road. This is a huge like turning point. So we wanted to document it. And we also like to keep you guys in the know because it's important for us to show all the like hardships about owning your own business. So we're kind of like, what do we do from here? I mean, we've worked probably the last like, I would say 6 weeks, like trying to sell this overstock.
Yeah, either through like bulk discount avenues or like promo offers and things like that. So it's just really difficult. This has probably been like one of the most stressful times for me in Fat and Weird Cookie, truthfully.
We like poured our life savings.
Yeah, because we have no cash, like we've emptied our life savings just to keep the company like running for cash. Because I mean, like when I say we have no cash, I like mean it. We have no cash.
I don't think that we anticipated it taking so long. I mean, I think we knew the first year that we went into wholesale, like we'd be in the red, which we definitely were. And then things started ramping up and they're still like excelling. So I do want to talk about like all the awesome things going on right now.
Yeah, because as long as Fat and Weird makes it to next year, there's some cool things that would happen.
Right, we're just in this like weird year where things have taken way longer than we thought. We poured so much money in and we're just kind of like waiting to see if it gets returned. And if it doesn't, yeah, I don't know. Brad and I don't know. I don't know what we'll do.
I mean, we would survive, but we would have no money.
So if it does work out, let's just say like everything works out till 2026. It sounds like we have an opportunity in a retail store. It starts with a T. And it has a lot of locations. I think you guys know because we talked about it on social media a lot.
Yeah, we've had meetings and we've met with their cookies and crackers buyer. So people that don't know, like a lot of these larger retailers have buyers for different categories. So we met with the cookies and crackers buyer and they are very interested in doing like a nationwide rollout with us in June of 2026. We've also sent in our like pitch, if you will, for the frozen section. It's a different buyer for that category. I haven't had a lot of communication with them, but I'm very hopeful that they like our product and they're able to try it. We sent some there for them to sample. We have a broker involved in that who is really great, super knowledgeable. They've also worked with companies like True Fruit. So, you know, really excited about all the potential out there, but it's just like it's taking so long and we have the capabilities to do so much more. It's been very difficult, you know. So this is just kind of the update of what's going on at Fat and Weird. Will we be bankrupt by 2026 or will we be in Target? Who knows?
Yeah, it could literally be a disaster or something amazing.
Yeah. So if you know anyone that would like a couple 100,000 cookies, please comment down below or send them my way. I will definitely cut you in on the sale of that if you can figure out how to sell them. But don't send me a bunch of ideas how to sell them and make me do it because believe me, I've talked to a lot of people already.
Yeah, I thought about it. Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Thanks for always watching and joining in and supporting us through the highs and lows.
That's entrepreneurship. It's a roller coaster. And right now I feel like we're at a low, but I'm hopeful that we're on our way up. You're worth it.